Hey, I've been getting some questions about the 25 years and how did I know I was supposed to be here. And I need to be careful with it because I want to make sure that I don't give you the wrong impression about the call of God. I mean, like, I don't have it figured out. And I don't believe that God necessarily says, you should get the salad at lunch today instead of the hamburger. I mean, your wife might say that, your doctor might say that, common sense might say that, but God might be saying it, he might not. You see what I'm saying? And what I want to make sure that I do is tell you, when I tell you about our call to Parkview, that I feel very definite that God made it happen. And at the same time, I feel like, it was a gut feeling that we were experiencing. So you could have a gut feeling to go jump off a cliff or change teams in baseball and become a fake Cubs fan or whatever. You could feel all kinds of feelings. That doesn't mean they're right. So here's let me unpack the story. I had been in youth ministry for 7 years, and I was feeling like. And again, I don't know, was this God saying, I want you to go preach somewhere, or was it me saying, I'm tired of doing all-nighters with junior high students? Sometimes you got to just figure those things out, right? So those two things were, converging in a place where I wanted to find something. And I came and interviewed at this church, and the call of God to this church, and that was over 25 years ago. And the call of God was clear to us here because we interviewed here. I'll never forget the feeling that night in the motel, which it's a funny story for me to always share because it's where the Essence Suites are now, which is like the romantic place with the hot tubs up in Orland. That wasn't where they put us up 25 years. It was just like Orland Hotel or something. I don't know what it was, but I remember that night because Denise and I, we loved where we lived in St. Louis. We loved our home. We loved our, we had our little Rachel. Our little daughter was two and a half, and we had great friends. And it was a great church and a great youth ministry, and close to her family and all those things. And yet we both kind of went back to the room that night and just kind of looked at each other and wept, really literally, because it just was such a deep feeling from God that this place had everything that we were hoping for as far as opportunity. We knew it was going to be an uphill struggle, but there was everything. It was going to be a great opportunity, that the fields were white here, and that God wanted us to make the move, and we weren't sure we wanted to, but we did, and I'll unpack the rest of it along the way. What I want you to hear is sometimes it's, I need to stop doing this and it's forcing me over here. Sometimes there's two different tracks that you could take with the call of God, and you're just going to have to decide. And I think most of the time that's the way it is. But every once in a while, you are fortunate to be in a situation where God says, this is where I want you to go. Now, a lot of times, God, when you know it's the call of God, you're going to know it's the call of God because a lot of other things are going to say, that's not what you ought to do. I mean, the irony of this story is one of my good friends, Hayden Shaw, who is part of our church and one of our consultants and one of my best friends, he was a minister in the area at that time, 26 years ago. And I asked Hayden, I said, hey, should I go to this church? And he said, no. I mean, he didn't use an expletive in front of no, but it was a very, very firm, like, no, that church is a disaster. You should not go there. I talked to the previous pastor who had been here, and I said, should I go to that church? And he said, no, this is not a good idea. And really, honestly, they weren't wrong. I mean, the years that were going to come in front of us, the journey that was in front of us was going to be hard. But this is where God wants us to go. So sometimes God says go somewhere where everybody else thinks you're crazy. And actually, that happens a lot.